Hello and thank you for choosing Iceline-Hosting. Having a good base and being able to survive in it is crucial to having a long and successful wipe in Rust. There are many ways to secure your base, such as utilizing electricity, using traps, or just adding enough honeycombs to make you feel safe, all of which will be discussed in this video. In order to build out your defenses, the first thing you need to do is make sure your base actually has the resources to survive. This is where your tool cupboard comes in. Besides providing you with building privilege, your TC also protects your base from decaying over time if it has enough resources. As you upgrade your base, you will find that it becomes more expensive to keep your base from decaying. To see how much it costs per day, press E on your deployed TC to open the upkeep management inventory. There are 4 resources used for upkeep. These 4 include wood, stone, metal fragments, and high quality metal. The upkeep cost for each resource goes up with the amount of that resource you use to upgrade your base. For example, if your base is made of stone and has metal doors, you will need mostly stone and some metal fragments. And if you upgrade to armor, doors, or walls, your base will also require high quality metal to keep it from decaying. If you do not keep your TC stocked, you will see building decaying pop up above your health bar. So during your wipe, make sure to put enough resources into your TC so your base doesn't decay. Honeycombing is a pretty easy way to make your base harder to raid at the cost of your base requiring more resources to upkeep. What honeycombing essentially is attaching layers of walls, usually with triangle foundations, around the main part of your base to make it more difficult for any potential raiders to raid. But when building a base, you should always account for honeycombing, as skipping out on it makes your base an easier target compared to bases with honeycombs, even if you have other forms of defense. Often, if raiders see a base with extensive honeycombing, they will skip over it and look for an easier target just because of how annoying it is to raid. Here are the 5 traps of Rust: the shotgun trap, the flame turret, the auto turret, the Tesla coil, and the SAM site. Adding traps to your base adds another layer of defense, making raiding that much more difficult. Some traps are easier to set up than others, especially after the introduction of electricity. Both shotgun traps and flame turrets do not require electricity, making it easy to add them to your base without having to worry about wiring them up. After placing the traps, all you need to do is fill them up with ammo. Shotgun traps simply take handmade shells, which are really cheap to craft, and flame turrets use low-grade fuel. Both of these traps will fire at anyone that does not have building privilege in your base, so make sure everyone on your team is authorized. The other 3 traps all take electricity in order to operate, which makes them a little more difficult to set up, but it's usually worth it. For an auto turret to be functional, you must supply it with a weapon, the ammo for that weapon, and 10 electricity. Unlike the shotgun trap and flame turret, each person that doesn't want to get shot by the auto turret needs to authorize on it while it is powered off. To add a weapon, you first need to authorize yourself on it, and then you can open up its inventory by pressing E. Now that you have a turret with a weapon, you need to supply it with power. Grab your wire tool and plug it in like so. The turret also has 3 other ports on the opposite side that allow you to hook up lights or counters for the following actions: when the turret has no ammo, when the turret is low on ammo, and when the turret has an acquired target. Turrets also have 2 different modes that you can switch between: Peacekeeper mode, which only targets armed players and players that are marked as hostile, and Attack All mode, which attacks anyone that is not authorized. To access these, simply hold E on the turret and this wheel will pop up. On this wheel you can also clear the authorization list, deauthorize yourself, and rotate the turret. Another electrical trap is the Tesla coil. Tesla coils require a whopping 35 electricity and will lose health rapidly when they are active. Unlike the auto turret, Tesla coils only have 1 port, and that is the power in port. These are mostly useful for trap bases where the whole point is to trap someone and kill them for their loot, as they are not really effective in offline defense unless you have a complicated raid detection system installed. And the last and largest trap is the SAM site. These can be purchased from the outpost for 500 scrap each and require SAM ammo to operate. They also require 25 electricity to run. Unlike any other trap, however, these will target any flying players and there is no way to authorize yourself on one of these. So you will most likely want to hook these up to a switch to turn them off while you are flying around your base. Those are the basics of traps. Use as many as you would like, as they are quite effective at stopping potential attackers. In this guide, we will only cover certain things, as electricity is something we don't have time for in this video. We will go over a few items that are easy to set up and will alert you via the Rust Plus app if you have it enabled when they are activated. We will go over the HBHF sensors, storage monitors, and smart alarms. HBHF sensors will detect players within a 10-meter radius. You can choose to include or exclude authorized players and to include or exclude others. These work based on line of sight, so if there is anything between the player and the sensor, the player will not set the sensor off. There is an output on these that can either be hooked up to a light or a speaker if you want, or you can hook it up to a smart alarm which will notify your phone whenever someone is detected, which can be quite useful if you're offline. Now let's move on to storage monitors. These can only be placed on TCs or large boxes, and can only be placed in one way. Similar to HBHF sensors, there's an output that can be hooked up to lights or a speaker, or what you will most likely want to do with it is a smart alarm. In the app, you can see all the loot that is in whatever storage device you attached it to, and if you attach it to a TC, the app will even tell you how much upkeep you have left. And hooking up a smart alarm will alert your phone whenever the loot is touched. Smart alarms are pretty sweet as their only purpose is to alert your phone whenever electricity is supplied to them. You can hook them up to whatever you would like. For example, you can hook them up to turrets to alert you when there is no ammo left, or you could hook them up to a button to make a doorbell. The possibilities are truly endless, which is exactly why this item is so useful. And remember, when it comes to anything electrical, it is always recommended to use the Rust Plus app because that unlocks the true potential of many of the items Rust has to offer. In conclusion, there is no one way to keep your base 100% safe in Rust, but hopefully after watching this video you've gained some new ideas on how to improve the security of your base. Remember to experiment to find out what is right for your playstyle and implement as many of these ideas as possible to make your base a safer place overall. So that's it for this tutorial. We hope you found it useful, and once again, thank you for choosing Iceline Hosting.